Good evening. President Nixon reportedly will announce his resignation tonight, and Vice President Ford will become the nation's 38th president tomorrow. That word comes unofficially from aides and associates of both men, but not from the two men themselves. And the swiftly moving events of this busy day in Washington tend to confirm it. Those events included a late morning White House meeting between the president and the vice president, Ford's cancellation of a planned trip to the West Coast and Hawaii, the president's scheduling of a televised address to the nation at 9 o'clock tonight Eastern Daylight Time, and his invitation to congressional leaders of both parties to meet with him before that address. We'll return in a minute with the detailed reports.
From CBS News headquarters in Washington, this is the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite. And in Washington, Eric Severide, Dan Rather, Phil Jones, Bruce Morton, Roger Mudd, Connie Chung, Terry Drinkwater in Yorba Linda, California, and Ike Pappas in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Since Monday, when President Nixon released the new tape, the smoking pistol of the Watergate evidence that tied it directly to him, events have been rushing toward one seemingly inevitable conclusion: removal from office. Now, if all reports are correct, and there's no reason to doubt them, Mr. Nixon has chosen to take that final step himself. More from Dan Rather.
According to his staff, unless the president has a sudden change of head and heart, his announcement will be resignation. He reached a tentative decision to do so Monday. Monday night, in a Potomac cruise aboard the yacht Sequoia, his daughters urged him not to do it. He agreed to reconsider. As of this hour, says his staff, he has not changed his mind. Last night at a family dinner upstairs in the White House, some of the family was in tears. The president was not. Presidential speechwriters worked through the night preparing a possible resignation address. The president himself worked on it early this morning. In late morning, Vice President Ford was summoned to the president's Oval Office. The meeting began at 11 a.m. Washington time. In an hour and 10 minutes, it was over. At 12:20 this afternoon, Presidential News Secretary Ronald Ziegler stepped before microphones and an overflow crowd of reporters in the White House briefing room.
I'm aware of the intense interest of the American people and of you in this room concerning developments today and over the last few days. This has, of course, has been a difficult time. The President of the United States will meet various members of the bipartisan leadership of Congress here at the White House early this evening. Tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, the President of the United States will address the nation on radio and television from his Oval Office.
Ziegler said no more. He walked out swiftly. White House aides said privately, quote, "It is over." Some secretaries wept. But the general tone, mood, and atmosphere with most people around the White House during the day was downcast but businesslike. During the afternoon, the president did more work on his speech. He began clearing out his desk. Manolo and Fina Sanchez, Nixon family servants for virtually a lifetime, were seen loading household effects into cars. At 5:30 p.m., the president vetoed the Agricultural, Environmental, and Consumer Protection Act. Aides said it would be his last official legislative action as president. The tentative plan, all involved emphasized that it is a tentative contingency plan subject to change at any moment if the president orders that, is for the president to announce tonight that he is submitting his resignation to Secretary Kissinger effective late tomorrow morning, with the expectation that Vice President Ford would be sworn in as president around midday tomorrow. Under this tentative plan, the president would leave Washington, flying aboard Air Force One, or as he prefers to call it, the Spirit of 76, for California tomorrow morning. Under this plan, he would leave Washington as President of the United States. He would arrive in California as a former president. Dan Rather, CBS News, the White House.
Sources close to